Hi friends, continuing to the chapter The Maximum City. The influence of the epic is strong. An incident in which Mr. Khan asks the boy to lay down his arms for the sake of her husband is referred to naturally and always as the Kundi scene. After the Pandavas' mothers in the Mahabharata, like most Bollywood films, the film is a paean to the motherhood. One thing you can never be clinical about in the Hindi movies. The most Indian movies are about the joint family splitting up and coming back together again. For 2.5 hours, they debate and overcome the dissolutions of the country's urban families into a nuclear, single parent, and divorced households. This film category is called the social movies. The housewife comes to the matinee shows and weaves copiously into the little white cotton handkerchiefs embroidered with the small colored flowers. Vinod himself is devoted, like a good Hindi movie son, to his mother. He cancels the dinner plans with us once because his mother says you can't eat food cooked during an eclipse. The narrative principles that propel the plot are alien to those of, says, the Loba Writers' Workshop, where I spent 2 years. I entertained myself by imagining what would happen if the script were put up in a workshop. My contribution to the script is minimal at the best. I propose an idea that departs from the standard Hindi film formula. Vinod, think about it. We can't do it because if we put it the film, the audience will burn down the theatre. They will rip out the seats and burn down the theatre. I withdraw the suggestion. He is not extra generating. Indians take their films as seriously as Italians take opera. When they feel their heroines are diverging radically from what they ought to be doing, the audience can get physical. As we are scripting, we read that in Ludhiana, after the first show of the film Fiza, in which the hero also plays a terrorist, the audience was disappointed by the way their idol was portrayed. They expressed their disappointment by getting up and ransacking the theatres. I feel an enormous responsibility now as a script writer. We construct the film with one anxious eyes on that rickshawalas in the lower stall with a can of petrol. I asked Vinod his opinion of the art film made in India. It is not high. I think the art film in India is like speaking Greek or Latin to an average Indian. This is a colonial hang up. The art cinema is made for the West, except the Kadak, who makes films in Bengali for Bengalis. Ray Power came from the West after the Panther Panchali, not from Bengal. Vinod can speak with the authority about art films. As you learn in the course of an first meetings with him, he has not nominated for an Oscar. Fresh out of film school, he made a short films about the homeless children in Bombay, An Encounter with the Faces, which was nominated in the short non-fiction category for the Academy Awards. The two movies had made later was critically praised but barely broke even. After that, he started making a flat out commercial films, thrillers, romances, starting with the Prinda in his first mainstream films. The underworld loved Parinda. It was the first time in the Hindi movie that they have shown as they really are. I remember Mohinsen, the hitman, watching a scene from Parindra on the hotel room TV and telling me, "This is a correct scene." Since then, Vinod had made only two films in 1942, A Love Story and A Kareeb. a total of 5 feature films in his entire career of 2 decades. Why does it take his such a long time when other Bollywood directors are turning out 1 or 2 year every year? Primarily because of the writings, I'm not a writer. He represent having to make a movies with a hank-yarned plots for what he calls the Ulu's audience. I'm constantly saddled with a viewer who's cinema illiterate. I'm constantly saddled with a view whose Bahadur Vinod Nepali's cook. My fear is that through the constant implications and trying to talk Shakespeare's with a clean Bahadur, I have lost the ability to discuss Shakespeare with the people who knows Shakespeare. This is nothing I gradually find out about the Bollywood. The people working it in far smarter than the product they turn out. We are drafting our intellectual slaves in order to make a films for a Hindi film audience. You are writing this great novel in English language. Try doing it in Hindi. Then you will know my tragedy. You will get frustrated. You will have no money to pay your children's school fees. You allow himself to think something of how it would be in his yearly art films been a success, or if he had chosen to live in the US after his Oscar nomination. He is sometimes burdened by the scene of a life not lived, the feeling that he took the wrong fork in the road a while back. I want to make an international films for the work markets I want to grow. Where will I go from here? I can sit here in an wooden study with my Josie and stagnate for the rest of my life. There are two Vinods fighting eyeball to eyeball, as he is fond of saying about the Khan and Altaf, our lead characters. One is an Avatan Karat, filmmaker from the Film Institute at Pune, student of Gajat, and Manikoval, worshippers of Kurushova. The other is the big budget Bombay producer with something to prove to his commercially successful stepbrother who cannot afford stubbornly in his films let it go over the leads of Ulu's audience. If he pleaded his taught to either of these persons, becomes wholly Vinod, the committed art film maker, or Vinod, the Bollywood hacks, he would be less tortured. As if it is the conflict is apparent in his film, it keeps him from winning an Oscar or having a mega hit at his or box office. Vinod is attached in his home but not into the city. Bombay never thrilled me. If I could take all my friends from here and live in Florida, that wouldn't be a bad idea. Bombay has become a goon city since the Sena has taken over. They have taken the Bombay. He was told by a garment broker that if he wanted a tax exemption for curry, he would have to go to Takshari. The most effective methods of the government control over popular cinema is in the censor office. Is it the tax office? Granting the tax exemptions to your film lovers the price of a ticket by half and could mean the difference between the life and the death of a film. But Vinod will now no doubt in front of Takshari if the Supremo causes trouble for him. He says that he will move out of the country. Vinod tells me about the new Quit India movement. It is a group of some 50 Bombay luminaries, dancers, actors, diplomats, and so on, loosely coordinated by a Parisi hairdresser who is in a charge of some of the city's most famous heads. And she has invited Vinod and Anu to join the exhorts. They have resolved to emigrate en masse to Canada, to Vancouver. To this end, they have meeting where they bring in expert to conduct the lecture on how to get about and how to live there. They are all rich and can afford the $2 million it cost to get Canadian papers. It is uniquely Bombay dreams of exile. You want to get out of a Bombay, but you want to take your Bombay with you. The new Quiet India movement dreams of traveling in a south bubble halfway across the world, where they can recreate the Malabar Hills and Pali Hills in a more Salrobian environment. Years from now, they will be asking me, and what did he talk like, and how did he walk? We are all in Amitabh Bachchan's bungalow, and I am shaking his hand. Now his waxwork in Madam Tosset the real thing. I have grown up with this man, or rather with his image. Now for the second time I am getting him live. The first time was in 1979 and at the older Deluxe Cinemas in Woodside, Queens, where he would came to the lunch Khala Patar. He gave a great speech at a stage. I worshipped from afar. Bachchan was then the biggest star in the Hindi films, the man who, when he was injured in the filming of an movie stunt, had the entire country praying for his recovery and 10,000s of the people lining up outside the Breachy Candy Hospital to give him the blood. The man himself is surprisingly bigger than his screen Pernanza. He wears a loose white silk puthan suit. When he shakes my hand, a smile comes on. I have never seen so many teeth in my life. It is not a smile of a pleasure or even of greeting. It is as if a switch has been flicked. There is a flash of a light. A moment later, the switch is flicked off on the face, resumes its stillness, sinks back to its light days. Outside his bungalow, at all hours, a group of people wait to get his darshan. Inside, he resides in his office, which is just his side of a shows, all baggy leathers and black boots. A large figurative painting of an old leathers and a black wood. A large figurative paintings of an old bioscopic wala with a cluster of kids peering into its domain one wall. On his desk are a stock of an video cassette and a couple of books, one of his father's poem, and on the top of it, Paul Resister's couplehood. Vinod asked me later, do you think he weaves his hair? It looked strange in front. From the back too, it looked strange. Unnatural, elongated over his neck. It is not just like his hair that he had lost. Bachchan is desperate. His last few movies have flopped badly, and the future of his production company, ABCL, is in doubt. When Amitabh Bachchan first called Vinod from Maruti's, the director was so relieved up about Vixen plots for a film about Kashmir that he started swearing. It is an brilliant idea. Bachchan listened politely and agreed that it was brilliant. Later that night, Vinod felt bad that he had been so coarse around the Bachchan, who is senior to him. But that was also a subtle indication of the new position of the star, that a director could swear like a sailor around him, and he would have to take it to hang on the line from Maruti's. After the failure of his last couples of the film, it was Bachchan who now had to call about the rules. Unlike many Hindi directors, Vinod shoots from a writing and bond scripts, but no such product is necessary or sufficient to sign up the talent for the film. We have to go physically and narrate the script or to the stars. This is the reason we are in Bachchan's bungalow. We are going to tell him the story. Bachchan tells us what effect our film should have on the audience. You need to catch them by the coach and shake them up. He wants to make a truly birth through the film, one in a different paragraph. As example, he cites Bombay and Bandit Queen, and he has taken a knee sense of the primacy of his role as hero, the only hero. He wants something in the plot by which the character's can show his smartness, supreme smartness. After we narrate the story to him, the superstar has a suggestion. Can we make the system the villain? Ask Bachchan. The common name is misinformed. He begins. He saw Oliver Stone, JFK, and it has changed the way he looked at the world. In India, although the common man is intelligent, he has been lied by the politicians and by the movies. But now the common man is waking up and realizing that the system is responsible for his trials. So now the common man will not accept a clinch ending in which the hero wins and everybody can go home. Bachchan wants us to make a movie with an ending that will awaken the common man to what the system is doing to him. He wants the two protagonistic, the cop and the militant, as they collapse in embarrass at the end, to be the shot dead by a single bullet. Let's really give them, the audience, something to think about. The star proposes. They're still in the theater for 15 minutes after the lights have come on, thinking about who could have shot them. Then they will say, shit, it's the system. What about the censor? I ask, remembering the Vinod concern about making an controversial film. Don't worry about the censor. Bachchan swats them away in the air like a housefly. He relates what happened at the National Defense Academy, where his latest film, Major Saab, is set, in which he plays the academy commander. When he showed the film to some army officers, they have complained that certain scenes was not true to the life and implied that they could make the trouble with the censor. Ban it, I said to them, and I will make a film about what really goes into the army. The gun running in the forward post, the extramartial affairs. The officers backed down and said, let's talk about this over some drink. Amitabh Bachchan had won a true hero victory. He took on the army's single-handed and the army gave in. I feel a gown with him. Vinod plays about his terrace. After the meeting with the Bachchan, he asked me what I think of Bachchan's suggestion. I tell him that I am not sure the public will accept a movie in which both sides lead die. The basic difference between an art film and a commercial film is that an art film, the hero dies at the end. Vinod wants a militant to be reunited with his girlfriend and his father at the conclusion of the film. So he rehails the appeal he will make to Bachchan. Sir, the system may be screwing the common man, but if I kill both my stars at the end of the picture, the system will surely screw me. What account for the star's paromia? Bachchan's foray into the politics came to an humiliating end. He was forced to resign his parliamentary seat in 1988 after his name was linked to the Bofors arms scandals. His entire colonne de merit, ABCL, is on the front page of a newspaper. His bank wants to sell his house to recover the money lent to the company. His movie was failing left and right. The whole country had loved him. The whole country have been ready to give his blood for him. It couldn't be the people who had withdrawn their love. It couldn't be that they were faithless. Now it had to be something else. It had to be the system. We go back to Bachchan's house late one night with the latest draft of the script. Jaya Bachchan, his wife, is there, along with his actor son Abhishek and the family accountant. Jaya is a dignified, gracious lady. I can still see the actress that delights me in Goody and Millie. Some snacks are offered to us in the living room. We talk about the Starter report, which is just out. The recent bombing of an American embassies in East Africa. Bachchan now sees where a plan to distract attention from Clinton's trouble with Miss Lewinsky. I sense the dreaded hand to the system again. We are discussing all this at 3 in the morning. Then we say goodnight to Jaya and go upstairs with the star to his study. Bachchan watches the location shot Vinod has taken in Kashmir. They show a gorgeous, peaceful country with old bungalows and Kesaring fountain in a well laid out gardens. He makes approving noises about the revised script. I sense he is a dog tried and just want to get the meetings over with. When we come down, it is about 4 am. Jaya is still there at the foot of the stairs in the low lights, gliding silently over the carpeted floor. Abhishek and the accountant also appeared out of the shadow. We tell Jaya we thought she was turning in. I'm always up until at least 4:30 am, she responded. We are a family of an insomniac, Abhishek explained with no little pride. Bachchan sits down again in front of an ever present settled snacks, this time complemented by a dish of an Rajasthani sweet. They all seem quite prepared to talk for another hour. We take our leave, the ghosts say on. Shah Rukh Khan, our first choice to play an Thalaf the militant, comes to Vinod's house one day to talk about the script. He is not good looking in the conventional ways, but it's bright, focused, and energetic. He comes back wearing a black shirt with all the buttons underdone, his hairless chest, blue jeans on which the too long cuff are not folded but are ripped at the seams, and trainers. I have met Shah Rukh Khan before. The first time was on the set of Dil To Pagal Hai. A shot was being filmed when the hero meets the heroine. She is shopping for the vegetable, haggling over the price around the vegetable seller. A dark fellow with a huge mustache and talked to him in a low voice. The vegetable sellers look fascinated and puts the watermelon into a plastic bag. In this film, I grew up with the heroines, saved heroines from the Bryglands. Now they negotiate better prices on vegetables. As Shah Rukh Khan enters Vinod's living room, we are talking to Ajay Lal, who has dropped in for lunch. The start is highly differential towards the cop. Ajay saved him once from the gangs when he was targeted for extortion. Vinod's servant Keem is not in the kitchen and Anu says he will make tea. Shah Rukh Khan sees that we have not finished talking to Ajay. He sits up. I will make a tea. I make a very good tea and disappears into the kitchen. Then the servants come up the stairs. If Keem goes into the kitchen, he will have a heart attack, notes Vinod. Keem goes in and sees somebody pounding cardamom for the tea. He is irritated. We found out later that some interpoler, maybe another servant, is doing his job. It is not until Shah Rukh Khan's come out with the tea on a tray and Keem noticed our attitude to him that he realized who the man in this kitchen has been. Stubborn is not interesting. Star acquires their life through the reflection on the faces of their fans. At the moment, Shah Rukh Khan is the biggest star in the country and in the region. Two Pakistani boys were recently caught by the Indian soldiers as they illegally crossed the borders in Kashmir. It turned out that they hadn't crossed to join the Hijaz. They had braved death at the borders in order to see their idols in the flesh. They planned to travel to Bombay to see Shah Rukh Khan. Next on the list of an Vinod decision is the choice of the heroine. But it is not very important in this action film. Heroine is only slightly more important than the scenery. Vinod has already spoken to Tabu, who is a fine actress, but as an distributor advises him, you should go to the glamour. Preeti Zinda, the actress I have met in Madanantapura for Tanu's shoot, has a bubbly smile. Plus, she had from Himachal Pradesh. She is a Pahari. She gets the role of Sufi, the love interest. Vinod chooses an old friend of his, Jackie Shroff, for the role of the villain. I knew about him and his friend when I came back for visit to the Bombay. They hung around Wonderlands, the video game parlor on a sea, and got the girl's Jackie until most other Hindi film stars make eye contact with you when he talks. He is a big man running to the fat when he eats Vinod's biscuit. His assistant reprimanded him. Vinod and Jackie Jagu to his friends have an easy, affectionate, joking relationship. They have been through one tough times together. At one point, Vinod said Jackie owed him 5 lakhs. He gave him 22 checks, all of them bounced. Unlike the Hindi movies I grew up watching, in our film there is no vamp playing opposite the villain. Why aren't there any vamp in the Bollywood anymore? I asked Tanuja. The heroine became the vamp, she explained. In the glory days of Bidu and Helan, the vamp were the only screen women who were allowed to wear the stockings, costumes, grati erotically, drinking whiskey. All that can now be done by the heroines. At least one song numbers where the woman, who is later the dutiful wife, schedules the hero by flashing her thighs is obligatory in today's movie. Another role to the salute by the lead is the comedy routine. Azarni, Ponytail, Johnny Walker, the sidekick or fool who used to throw in a few accidental punches in the climactic fight sequence. Bachchan's destroyed the comedy role. He incorporated them in his own. He was the only actor with enough stature to be able to do that and still look heroic. The proportion of popular movies that deals with the political issues with the terrorists have been steadily growing. I can hardly recall any when I lived in India as a child. India now deals with the threat to its integrity through the movies. Many of the Hindi films of recent days are about a vast international conspiracy against the country, headed by the villain of an various ethnic outlines. These are the scenes of booming terrorists, usually in the language with Gandhi cap wearing the politicians. It is a simple explanation for the million immunities. It is all coming from outside. What government since independence have called the foreign hands. If we could only get to the man's one who wants to destroy our country, everything will be all right. Somewhere in Pakistan, in Switzerland, sits Mogambo is his fabulous mansion, plotting with his minions way to break up the Hindustan. I feel distanced for many of the scenes in the Mission Kashmir. In writing them, I am a lawyer putting words I do not believe in the mouths of my characters. Politically, I am at left angles to the film. I urge that we need to insert something about the social and economic condition that goes into making of a terrorist, especially in Kashmir. I talk about visiting the Kashmir in 1987 and seeing perhaps the most corrupt state governments in India. About the wishes of most of the locals I had spoken to not to be the part of the Indian Union. About the double standard in India, keeping the Muslim majority Kashmir on the ground, that the Maharaja had added to us at its independence and refusing to let the Muslim princes of the Hyderabad and Junada exiled to the Pakistan because they ruled over Hindu majority states. But I don't push the point. They ruled over Hindus majority status. But I don't push the point. I do not have the necessary weight on script writing team. Vinod want the film to reinforce in the popular imagination the synthetic idea of Kashmiriyat and the age-old ideology that allows a Muslim at the Hazardbal Mosque and Hindus at the Sachankara temple to worship in the same country. He is not blind to the recent history of his troubled homeland. At one point he says that the Indians have get the Kashmir, I am a Kashmiri. I know they have taken political views of the country's Muslims represented by Khan, the pro-Indian state Muslims to Altaf, the duped Muslim terrorist to Hilal, the troublemaking fantastic from Afghanistan. At one point, a Hindu bureaucrat questioned Khan's loyalty. Khan responded angrily, Mr. Deshpande, it is not the misfortune only of the Muslim, but of the entire country that a soldier who have braved bullet for 21 years must prove his loyalty repeatedly because his name is not Deshpande but Inayat Khan. My love for this country needs no certificate from a brokerate. The scripts also keep making half-hearted attempt to balance the view of the Indian state with that of the Kashmiris. But it is always tempered, always compromised. In one of the scenes, a terrorist explains his reasons for joining the movement. First, they shamed my mother. I picked up a gun and came here. This brave statement is quickly balanced by this next sentence, which he says while holding a letter from home. Now across the border, they have done the same with my sister. In all things, equivalence can freeze the censor scissors in mid-spin. Equivalence can stop the terrorist bullet half an inch from your chest. All along, the draft of the scripts are shown to the police officers and the army officers to check the fictional world against the real one. In Kashmir, Vinod shows the script to be a top intelligence bureau office. The officers wonders about the scene where Khan shoots two of the militant ran away during an integration. You are just blown him away. He points out the filmmakers. With me, I won't cut a finger off because it's that much less of a body for me to work with. If I cut an arm off, that's even more lost. If I kill the person, I can't work with anything. To the intelligent bureau officer, the body is a precious resource to be considered for its value as a source of a pain. Every organ, every delight, it's valuable. Without much warning, Amitabh Bachchan backs out to the film. He sets Vinod facts. Since they have not discussed many aspects of the project, the star concluded regretfully, I will have to give this one a miss. Vinod centuries the handwritten facts within this date. Is this money accept or many aspect? He goes to Bachchan's house with 100 white roses to pursue the star to sign for his film. The star says that he is committed to another movie with himself and Shah Rukh Khan in it. He now have to think of the Kashmir's film without Bachchan. But there is a breath of a dignified older actor. Indian male movie star doesn't age gracefully. They grow fat and lose their hair, but they still insist on acting opposition heroines in their 20s as their lovers, not their fathers. One day, Vinod tells me that Shah Rukh Khan too will do not do the Kashmir project. His fees are too high. Vinod is now considering spending the rest of the year making advertising films. The real money is in the TV spots. Shah Rukh Khan was offered 30 lakhs for appearing in the Vinod's film, for which he would have had to travel and work for the months. For 3 days, work in Pepsi ad, and he will get 10 times the money. But without the film, Shah Rukh Khan faces commercial wouldn't be unrecognizable. The advertising industry subsides the movies by funding the lifestyles of the stars. In return, the movies move product placements in the films reaches terrorists unknowns in the Hollywood. An entire song might be paid for the coke. For example, and the hero and the heroine dance against the Jane Coke can for 5 to 7 minutes of the screen time. Nobody minds. There is no division between the scared and the profound in Indian films. I finally get a chance to see one of the Vinod's film, Kareeb, in the theaters in the hill resort of Lanawa. In Indian cinema hall is never the chamber of a mass and consciousness it is in the West. For one thing, you can never tell anyone to shut up. Everyone talks at will, often keeps up running dialogue with the characters. If a god appears on the screen, people might throw coins or prostrate themselves in the aisles. Babies' halls. During a song, a quarter of the audience might get up and pursue refreshment in the lobby. Complex dialogue doesn't work because most of the time the audience doesn't hear it. The sound is so bad in most Indian theaters that there can be no whispering in an Hindi film as in a play, and the score always has to be played at a top volume. It wasn't always so. To ask directions to the theater in Lavalla, you ask where the talkies are. The audience is indifferent to Kareeb. They are jeering at the screen, shooting where when the heroine shows any sign of getting close to the heroes. I got out to get an ice cream during a tender scene between the heroine and her mother. They are being really disgusting. Sunita tells me when I come back, making comments about mother daughter intimacy, but the audience doesn't like the parody to be on the screen. In a scene where the mother is kidding the daughter about having a lost twin sister, which is meant to be a comic. To play within conversion of the formula, the audience is absolutely silent, dangerously silent. Kareeb is not a good film. The scripts move along with the aid of contrivance. The acting, especially by the first time heroine, is so bad it borders on parody. She wanders through the movie looking stoned. Vinod blames her for his losses on Kareeb because he had to waste so many takes on an untrained actress. Once on the set, she was supposed to lift her right hand to her head. She kept flubbing it by raising her left hand. After it happened one too many times, Vinod went over to her, grabbed her right hand and bite it. The pain will remind you will which use the hand to use. He is a Vincent Hollows of an Indian cinema, a little bit mad. After Bachchan and the Shah Rukh Khan back out, Vinod decided to work on another script with me. It is set partially in London with this theme, the possible reconciliation between the Indians and the Pakistani overseas. The film deals with the patriotism and is called Miti. Vinod has a vision of two soldiers, one Indian and one Pakistani, growing up in similar homes in Bombay and Lahore. They grievously injure each other in a battle and find themselves in the same hospital in England. There, they gradually realizes that their hatred is reasoned and swallowed. They belong to the same Miti. This is a hockey plot, but it is a kind of an benevolence. It is on the side of the angles, and it is keeping with the headlines in the newspaper. Friendship is in the air. It is the spring of possibilities. The idea for the movie has its genius in a journey from Delhi to Lahore through Vaha in 1999, when Prime Minister Vajpayee got on a bus, not on a plane, not a Limelos, to make a peace with his enemy, Nawaz Sharif in Lahore. Bollywood censors nearly that it marks a moment in the subcontinent history. I get call simultaneously from the director Mahesh Bhatt and from Vinod to help them with the project based around the catalysm that happened here 50 years ago. Patriotism affected them both. Vinod because he is a Punjabi Hindu from Kashmir and Mahesh because his mother was Muslim. Bollywood had a long grappled with the vivisection of the motherland. Part of the reason is that this is one of the few industries in which Muslims and Hindus are equally of the few represented. Muslim writers often write Hindu mythological epics. The ten-headed god spout Urdu poetry. Bollywood is essentially a Punjabi and Sindhi dominated industry, founded by the patriotism refugees who took up a business that the established Bombay elites of 1940s looked down on. In this, it is parallel the story of the Hollywood and the Jews. The saga of an patriotism fits with the great love stories of this part of the world, of Laila Majnu, Heer Ranjana, and thousands of the Hindi movies. Two people who love each other against all odds, against the trident father of the state, or twin brother separated at a birth in an accident of history. Patriotism, with all its heightened emotions, it weaves and tragedy. It is a ready-made plot for Bollywood. It fits within the formula, perhaps deep in the sacred sizes of the refuge who made Bollywood what it is today. Patriotism created the formula. But in 1999, the Kargil War breaks out between India and Pakistani, and Miti is abandoned, left in the dust. From Pakistani as a brother, we go back to the theme of the Kashmiri film. Pakistani Act and Arch Friends, a whole sleeve of a movie about the conflicts is released. Movies that have nothing to do with the war in the mountains, but the features an army man or even a policeman fighting cross borders terrorism or being advertised as a prohibiting about Kargil. The script for the Mission Kashmir struggled to catch up with the changing headlines. It is possible to predict what the mood of the public might be when the film is finally released. Whether it will want to see the Pakistani as a brother people or as a murderous fantastics. Vinod's worst nightmare now is that the development of the Kargil will run out of the control and the unimaginable will happen. One country will drop an atom bomb on the other. Then a film would be outdated. Without an atom bomb in it, the movie would bomb at the box office. Vinod still have the chooses new leads for Mission Kashmir. Amitabh Bachchan is replaced by Sanjay Dutt. The trouble star out on bail for his involvement in the bomb blast in 1993, Sanjay's career is in bad shape at that moment. He seems to be on gradual slope downhill from his summit. To replace Shah Rukh Khan, Vinod has picked someone completely new. This 25 years old son of an sporadically success stars of 1970 has made Excellency one movie, which has been directed by his fathers in a several months away from the release. His name is Hrithik Roshan. One morning, Hrithik comes to Vinod's house for a script narrating. The first thing I notice about the newcomer is how strangely, even uncomfortably handsome he is. Green eye, a strong nose and a jaw, arm like a Popeye, and a thin body that has been worked out with a zeal until it's blotched in an all right places. He is polite and humble, listening closely to the story, but we know this taking a huge risk. If Kaho Na Pyar Hai, Hrithik's debut film, flops when it released, so in all probability will Mission Kashmir. His role as Altaf is central. But Vinod had seen the rushes of the movie and had made his choice, compelled perhaps by financial eccentricity. Hrithik comes cheap. Here is a reason often Hollywood is unable to provide a produce Indian films. Negotiation the contracts in the Bollywood would make any Wall Street entertainers lawyer jump out of his 26-floor suits at the Oberoi. Vinod contacted several music directors and asked for their ideas for the scores and the song. Anu Malik, the composer he worked with on Kareeb, gets very emotional when he hears that Vinod is shopping around. He had a 2-hour conversation with Vinod one Sunday morning in which he declares that he is ready to work for free. He weeps and wails. He will not ask for a single paise. The money is nothing compared to their friendship, he declares through his sobs. Vinod hears a crunching sound on the other end of the line. What's that? Asked Vinod. I'm eating a radish, answered the composer. Just a minute, I will finish it. Vinod hears him furiously crunching away. Then he comes back to the phone, ready to weep afresh. Not one single paise, not one single paise will I take from you if it about the money. There are 5 terrorists in India where a film is solid and 1 terrorist that comprises all the overseas market. A distributors come to the Vinod wanting the Central India territory. He wants Vinod a bank check. You write the figure, sir. You know that scene in Pranida when he looks into the rear view mirror. I have it by the heart. By heart. Negotiating in the Hindi film industry is always an emotional business. Shameless flattery is a must. A distributor from Calcutta, Mr. Bahandia, comes in and Vinod immediately greeted him with a effusive hug. It is, I learned later, the first time the two had ever met. Congratulations on the others on the new issue, says Mr. Bhagira. He must be refreshed to Vinod's newborn son or about the Kashmir project or the both. We talk with Mr. Bahadia about casting. He urges us to go for the glamour for the stars who are currently fashionable and the most important quality lucky. He has analyzed 100 of the films and has come up with a certain lucky pairs. Actor and actress who, whenever they appear together in a film, it so happens that the film has been a hit. The film may not be a hit because of the pair. It is just like a lucky omen. Rocky and Suresh Oberoi. No film in which they have both appeared had ever failed. Put them in your film, even if they are small parts. They don't even have to be in opposite each other's. Mr. Bahadia had spent a lifetime pondering why some films do well and others don't. It is a crucial to catch a star while he is still in voyage, because he says thoughtfully, and here I sense he is offering us the num or a gem of his accumulated experience, that a single emporium on which men base their lives. A star is like a lipstick. When it's fade, it fades. The distributor is here to talk about the money. For the entire Bengal and Bihari circuit, the distributors came to have a less than the 15 lakhs in revenue for Kareeb. That is a great bonhomie during the meetings, with only the slightest undercurrent of tensions. The distributors allowed the Kareeb floppy miserably and lost his lot of money, but he declares to the Vinod he distributes a film for the prestige, not for the money. Even if he knows in advance that a film won't make him money, if it is a prestigious project like any films of Vinod's, he will take it on at a chance at once. We are not a stalwarts of the industries like Vidhu Vinod Chopra, he said, turning to me. As soon as he is out of a door, Vinod asked me what I thought of Mr. Bhatia. I says I thought something sounded fishy. That swindled me, said Vinod. The movie had done at least 30 to 40 lakhs of a business in Bhatia's territory. The distributors get 10% of the whatever's he reports. It is mostly a cash business. That there are no mechanism Vinod has at his disposal to check the real ticket sales. There is nothing I can do, he says. He trusted it on the director Yash Chopra's advice. The distributor left saying that he was going on to the Yash Chopra's house because he had a meeting scheduled with the director. Vinod asked his assistants to call Yash Chopra's house. Yash Chopra is out of the town. Vinod draws up an agreement but normally doesn't put his signature to them. Legal agreements means nothing. He points out the contract that the stars and the director signs means nothing. The payment all depends on whether the star most recent films in the hit or a flop. To hedge their bets, the star usually works on 3 or 4 films at the same time, morphing from the role of an policeman in the morning to a terrorist in the afternoon to a demon lover at the night. Vinod reaches over and shows me a piece of a paper. It is that most closely guarded of his secrets, a written contract in Bollywood. It spells out the star's payment terms in language that would be curiosity in a court of a law, but is only a written forms of an model drama that Vinod puts it into all his original negotiations. Dear Sanjay, subject Mission Kashmir. I believe what has been happened over the last few weeks in the context of Mission Kashmir is astonishing in the terms of the shape that the project is taking. Whether it is the script of the music or the most of all the interest and the commitment being shown by you. I truly believe that the project is taking an strategy prospections. Second, I appreciate this commitment, but I want to tell you know that I value your friendship and our relationship even more. I don't even want any misunderstanding, especially on the more mundane issues of remuneration, etc., to come in the way of this relationship. This is why I have discussed this issue with you quite frankly and candidly. I just want to put these down here as a memory jogger what you and I have agreed on this issue. Much third, much as I would like to pay you what you do would be getting outside but keeping in a view that I do not take resources to the normal ugly channels of the finance. I would be paying you a rupees 25 lakhs. However, please bear in the mind that if the film does not do well, I would only pay you a token of some rupees 0. I hope this finds your approval. With best wishes, yours truly, Vinod Chopra. And underneath a handwritten line, bonus 25 lakhs if film is a success. The contracts for the three leads are identical in their languages. The figures in the change of the second male head. Hirthing or 11 lakhs if the film breaks even, 1 lakh if it doesn't, and a bonus of 10 lakhs if the film makes money. 1 lakh if not, and not a bonus of a 10 lakh for a hit. Although the figure changes later as a budget and the Hrithik Roshan popularity swells. Vinod has covered his belts well. If Mission Kashmir goes the way of Kareeb, the total payment he will be out for this star is an pliffing 2 lakhs. Similar terms have been arranged with the music directors, the cameraman, and the others in the crew. Nobody gets any advance. Sometimes nobody gets anything after they work either. When Kareeb flopped, my art director didn't get any money. Vinod says that, but he made it up later. When he made an advertising film, he hired the same art director and paid him 3 times the normal rate. It was very un-American. This can't happen in America, notes Vinod. We need at least 4 songs for the Mission Kashmir. Ideally, the record companies would like a movie to have 8 songs so they can fill both sides of a cassette. But recognizing the strife thrown Kashmir and the two bloody thirsty, astonished, do not make the idol setting for a Bollywood number. Vinod originally thinks of settling for 4 songs which are enough for one side of a cassette. The other side can be filled with the background music. By the time the movie is finished, the number of the songs had almost doubled to 7. This is another creative decision forced by economics. The earliest revenge in an Hindi film producer will see is come from advance sales of a music to record companies. Vinod's films have traditionally done well overseas, as have the soundtracks of his previous films. His films are known, above all, for the excellence of their music. Even people who have never seen 1942 will instantly recognize the tune of Ek Ladki Ko Dekha and start humming along. He sells the music upfront for the 3 crores before he has shot a single frame, getting crew crosses in advance, which partly finances the production of the film. Vinod read out the lyrics composed for the song by Rahat Lindori. They had to do with the flowers with the homeland, with distractions with the bomb. I asked Vinod if the lyrics are always in Urdu. It's difficult to know which is Hindi and which is Urdu. He says, since this is a film about Kashmir, the language used will tilt towards Urdu. This nationalist filmmaker, like all the rest of them, makes his film in Hindustani, not Hindi. The musicians are 3 hip young guys from the ad world, Shankar, Izen and Loy, a Hindu, a Muslim and a Christian. I call them Amar, Akbar, Anthony. They play 3 songs for us in their music studio. They have overlaid the track with samples from all over the world. Give me the Burundi drums, says Istan. Then he overdubs a Sanjail Call to the Prayer from the album Passion Source, itself a complication of an world music resources of an Martin Soccer's Peter Gabriel collaboration, The Last Temptation of the Christ. The talk in the studio is on Nino Rota Vangelis, John Coloretta. Into the mix are thrown tables, guitars, pianos, water bells, and the sounds of an oar dipping into the lake water. Hindi film music was a world beat before Peter Gabriel or Paul Simon ever had a talking drum. For centuries, people have been taking a rhythm from all around the world, not instruments, Loy points out. For example, music from the coastal region of the world offers share the same basic rhythms. He drums them out with his mouth. Bombay music now is different from the Bombay music I grew up with. For one thing, it reveals more on electronic instruments and on African rhythm and the voices. Many of the dance numbers feature a deep back voice popping up in the middle of the Hindi, declaring his laughing love for the very female Hindi voices. Thank you.